Good day, everyone. My name is Linda Foinding, and you are listening to Umoja Sessions. This specialty episode is actually the first of many in a series about young African entrepreneurs that are employing creative and innovative ways to excel in their niche, as well as lead in their communities. This is their story. Today, we travel to Zimbabwe, which is where our guest Tongayi Choto is from. Tongayi is the founder and lead software developer of AfriBlocks, a Pan-African marketplace where African freelancers can provide remote services to clients across the world. His company is working to combat unemployment in Africa by providing creative ways to our young, brilliant professionals to put themselves out there in the world and access jobs and payments. Tongayi Choto, welcome to Moja Sessions.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Tongai. So I'd like to start this off by having you tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Tongayi Choto. Tongayi means lead. Choto almost means fire in English. So Tongayi, that's my Shona name. I'm here based in Zimbabwe, Harare, and I'm basically an entrepreneur. I've an interest in blockchain technology and financial technology. That's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. I graduated at the University of Zimbabwe doing computer science and maths. So since then, I've just been in this space trying to find ways to solve problems that I see every day. And I think technology is the best way to solve these challenges. Yeah, so that's basically who I am, and I've had the opportunity to travel to the United States, Kenya, Spain, and that's how I managed to see different aspects and different ways that you can use technology to literally change people's lives.
Wow, your background sounds really amazing. You almost make me want to go back to school and take, math, a math major. But what is blockchain? I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what blockchain technology is and how you started out in this sector, especially in terms of specializing in Bitcoin.
So, blockchain technology is a really interesting technology. Actually, I started to know about Bitcoin first before I started to know about the technology behind. So, blockchain is the technology behind Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and I find it very interesting because it creates new ways of developing software. It creates new ways of distributing power or in an ecosystem, for example. So basically, blockchain is the technology behind cryptocurrency, but the way it was created helps software developers like me because the software is open source, and open source means it's available for everyone to use, to download, and make changes to it, make suggestions on it. So that technology is the technology that is more interesting to me than Bitcoin or Ethereum or other cryptocurrencies. So that's what I've been working on for the past 5 years, trying to find use cases of how I can use this technology. And one of the things that we managed to do was to create a platform for remittances. So that people live and work outside Zimbabwe were able to use Bitcoin to send funds back home to their family. So that's one use case we managed to develop using blockchain, and the other one was for women farmers here in Zimbabwe. They were able to redeem bitcoins for farming inputs, and these donations were donations that were coming from well wishers across the world. But it was easy to distribute to them. There were about 100 around Zimbabwe. So because we're using this technology, it was easy to send payments to them, and they were able to actually redeem for farming inputs and be able to do their farming projects. So that's what I think the approach should be in blockchain, whereby you actually go to the roots and figure out how to use this amazing technology to a person like my grandmother, to a person like my mom who is not into technology, but will be able to actually benefit from it. So, in a nutshell, that's what's blockchain technology, and that's some of the use cases that we have done in the past 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's really great. Bringing that technology to farmers, bringing that technology to people who might not really be familiar with it. And speaking of that, blockchain technology is, becoming more and more popular in the USA, in Western countries, but not necessarily in Africa. So, what were some of the obstacles that you encountered when starting out?
It was mainly an issue of learning about it, and people needed to really know about, because it is a lot. Before you start to talk about blockchain, before you start to talk about Bitcoin, people needed to know what it is. So there was a learning curve challenge. Uh, so people had to be taught to be able to use it. But what I figured out was, for example, right now it's a very small portion of people who know how the internet works. But because it works, people just use it. People have stopped asking, like how did my email or my picture get you? They stopped asking because it works. So that's what I think needs to be done in blockchain and Bitcoin to create softwares that really work and they are user friendly, even though the technology behind them is amazing. So I just gave the example of the internet, that no one people do know how it works, but it has got into a stage where people don't really look for it, don't really want to know. They just know it works, so they just use it. So there was that challenge of the learning curve aspect. Then there was a challenge of every time when something good is coming up, there are also the bad side of it, where scammers come up, people promising money, people promising this and that. So it got a really bad reputation because of the fact that there were people coming in. They're like, you can make money, you can do this, and scamming people. So those are some of the challenges that the whole technology had.
Hmm. So, what are some of the problems that you're attempting to solve with our free blocks? And what I mean by that is, I introduce yourself as somebody whose company is tackling the unemployment issues in Africa. So, what are some other problems that you're trying to solve with AfriBlocks, and what are some challenges that come with trying to solve those problems?
AfriBlocks is a global Pan-African freelance network and marketplace, and the goal is to find opportunities and jobs for African freelancers. And the approach that we are taking, let me try to break it down. If you look at the freelance global economy, it's growing right now, particularly at this stage where there's this unfortunate coronavirus, COVID-19, and people are working from home. So it has prompted the whole world to say, you know what, we need to invest in infrastructures that allow us to do remote work. So, before COVID-19, 70% of freelancers across the world were under the age of 35. And looking at Africa, 60% of the 1.3 billion people in Africa are under the age of what? Of 25. And the internet penetration rate in Africa is growing up. Mobile phones and basically the population of Africa. So this is what I saw as everything is pointing towards one direction. And that direction is Africa's workforce is huge, it's growing, it's talented, and right now it's untapped. So AfriBlocks is creating what I can call the base or the foundation that will allow for this gig economy to grow. So for example, eventually people right now people can start by getting small jobs done. If you need a graphics designer, you can get someone. If you need a website, if you need a marketer, if you need uh, a writer, all those skills and talented professionals are on the platform. So you get those things done, and eventually, what this will do is will create a connection. It will create a professional connection and professional relationships that create the base or the foundation for Africa connecting with the rest of the world, particularly in the freelance space and professional relationships and business. So that's what AfriBlocks stands for, and that's the mission that AfriBlocks has. Some challenges we have faced were, particularly with payments. Payments are not easy to make because remember these are small jobs, $100 job, 150, and freelancers are in different countries. We've had clients from the United States, from United Kingdom, from even Cyprus. So now these are places with different types of payments. And this side, we also have a different type of payments. Some African countries, for example, here in Zimbabwe, PayPal is not supported. So that's one of the challenges we've had. And it's a challenge that again points to solutions like blockchain for payments. And this is something that is in research and development that we're trying to figure out. And it's a good problem to have because it means people are actually starting to trust our platform. They're actually getting jobs done, and payments are coming through. So now we need to accelerate our development of the platform.
That's really amazing. It sounds like you've been really building your resilience during this crisis and also tackling all the challenges that come with having a platform like that in Africa, based in Zimbabwe. So, can you tell us a little bit about the new projects you're working on? What are some immediate plans that you have for the upcoming months and the rest of the year?
Right now, we were looking into into creating an innovation hub here in Zimbabwe, where freelancers will be able to come and work from. Um, so that's one project we're working on. We just finished what we called the African Freelancer series, which is free material that training material for freelancers. You know, things like online presence, communication skills, because we also want to develop our workforce, develop our freelancers, because some people have we're actually introducing them to this online work. They were used to just working here in Zimbabwe or in South Africa. So now, for example, small things like the time zones, you're 6 hours, you're 8 hours ahead or behind. So you need to consider all that when working with clients. And the platform is one of the biggest things that we are developing because we're getting feedback from clients, feedback from freelancers, because our platform is a two-sided marketplace. So you need to make sure that you're catering for both the freelancers and the clients. So the development work is the biggest thing that we're doing, and we want to target to have more people register, more feedback, early adopters, people who believe in the platform to help us keep developing. And one thing that we do is we actually use our freelancers with anything that we're developing. So our platform is actually being developed by our freelancers, our marketing, everything is done by our freelancers.
That's really amazing to hear that. It's you guys are self-sufficient, you're freelancers, you're entrepreneurs, you're everything all in one basket. And it's really great to see companies like that thriving and seeing young professionals like you leading the way. So, I'd like you to give some advice to some of our listeners that may be your fellow peers, young professionals, entrepreneurs like you and me, and how would they go about building resilience during a crisis like COVID-19?
Well, I'll start with hard work, obviously, but there is the aspect of honesty in your work and research and reading. So those are the things that I think are really important. I'll explain about the honesty aspect. If your work uh, is always clean, is always honest, is always um, up to par, it will create relationships that you establish today, but you probably benefit from them in 2 3 years. Because today I've had people that are helping me with my work, but it's because of a job I probably did for them 3, 4 years ago. And that's something that people underestimate. You should always be honest with your work. You should always work hard. You should always meet your deadlines. You should always mean what you say. You should always communicate when there's something that has changed. So those are small core values that add up to something big as you go. Because right now, like, we're all in this crisis, but I've managed to reach out to people to say, hey, we're still looking for jobs, and we keep getting those jobs. And like what I was saying, some of those people are people who I've done jobs for or who I've worked with before a long time ago. So yeah, that's key. Then always reading. So, we have Google, we have internet. It's unlike the past where you used to have to go into a library and look for a book. Right now, you can just open your phone and say how to be efficient during COVID-19, and you get a lot of articles, you get a lot of feedback that you can read and start to use in your daily work and experiences. So reading is important. For those who don't necessarily want to read a book, you can listen to a podcast, you can go on YouTube, view a video. All these resources are there, and which places our generation in a good space. Because like I was saying, right now, imagine if this was maybe in 1993 and all the books are in the library and people are being told to stay home. Right now, all the books are online. You can read. You can use those in your day to day. So yeah, I think that's what I would advise people in this time.
Oh, thank you so much, Tongayi. Those are great resources and advice. And one last thing, say there's a young person fresh out of school, fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, or maybe did not go to college or did not go to high school, and they too want to build their business dream. And where would they start? What would you advise them to do first and foremost in order for them to have a good basis before going and hitting the ground?
Okay, so this is actually interesting, an interesting question, because that's one of the reasons why AfriBlocks exist. Because we try to mentor our freelancers. We've had people who are, say, 18 years. They just finished high school and they're trying to find some work to do. We train them. I mentioned the online series, and they come on the platform later on. So what I would say would be helpful is to get on platforms like LinkedIn, get on platforms like AfriBlocks, and look for mentors, look for people that you admire in business, reach out to them, ask for help, and most importantly, be coachable. When people tell you, read this book, then go read that book. Don't be stubborn, you don't know yet. So, someone who's telling you advice, you should be able to listen, you should be able to take it in. And to start your own business, you should probably start with thinking about a problem, then you move on to thinking about the solution, and the most important piece is to implement it and to execute what you've thought about, because you can keep thinking, you can come up with amazing ideas, but as long as you don't execute them, you're just the same as someone who has not done anything any at all. Because I've seen my career, I've had people reach out to me, I have this idea, then I tell them you have to implement it. You can have so many good ideas, intellectual property, make people sign NDAs, but a good idea is a great idea once it's implemented.
Wow, thank you so much, Tongai. You've been a wealth of knowledge today. Tell us where our listeners can contact you, can find you.
Sure. So you can reach out to me on info@afriblocks.com if you need a job done, if you need a partnership, if you're looking to become a freelancer, reach out to info@afriblocks.com. Our website is www.afriblocks.com. Yeah, so that's how you can reach out to us.
Well, there you have it, folks. Like they say, the Swahili proverb, elimu ni misingi ya maisha. That means education is the foundation of life. Like Tongayi said, if you want to start out your business, if you want to continue growing and scaling during this crisis, focus on what you do best, focus on reading, focus on your education, focus on how you can solve a problem. Thank you for listening to Umoja Sessions. My name is Linda Foinding. I am a princess warrior and an Afro optimist.